Peugeot's E-5008 offers a pretty unique proposition to those in search of a relatively affordable 7-seat EV. This, the first 5008 to be fully battery powered, also offers a versatile, sophisticated cabin. It ought to find a ready market.
You might reasonably think that finding a gap in the volume part of the overcrowded SUV market would be almost impossible. Not so. That one rather obvious opportunity still exists is highlighted by this car, the Peugeot E-5008. Beyond converted vans, it's hard to find many other mid-sized models that can offer you a full EV drivetrain and 7 proper seats for under £60,000. With that kind of selling point, you'd think this car might have a ready market. This is the third generation design in the 5008 model line, but the first to be offered with the option of the full electric drivetrain that's created the E5008 variant we look at here. This third generation 5008, like its two predecessors, is essentially just a stretched version of the 3008, or in this case the E3008, which means that in Mark III form, this electrified 5008 is based on the latest, more sophisticated Stellantis Group 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹liche platform, which also underpins the latest Vauxhall Grandland. Well, to find out more, you're going to need the usual comprehensive car and driving road test. A family-sized 7-seat SUV isn't meant to be thrown about, but it should be capable of safe, high-speed handling should circumstances demand that. If you want us to get right to it, that's what's been delivered here. Don't expect to particularly enjoy the back doubles on your way home from the school run, but if necessary, the 5008 will get you through them surprisingly quickly if your kids have made you late for your first appointment of the day. At the wheel, the unusual driving position of the I-cockpit design does take some getting used to, but it does also encourage wrist flick direction changes from the little tiller. In terms of EV powertrain, all you really need here is the 210 horsepower, 73 kilowatt-hour single motor E5008 model that most customers will choose, the version that we're trying today. It's not particularly fast for an EV, making 62 miles an hour in 9.7 seconds, but there's plenty of pulling power that makes the performance quite enough for family duties and eager enough for a 2.2-ton family car. EV range is up to 339 miles. If you want to go further, there's a long-range, single-motor model available with 231 horsepower and a larger 97 kilowatt-hour battery that can take you up to 414 miles. At the top of the lineup, though it hadn't yet been made available at the time of our test, is the 320 dual-motor all-wheel drive model, which produces 315 horsepower from its twin motors and also uses the larger 97 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Driving range with that variant is quoted at 310 miles. On all E5008s, there are 3 stages of selectable regenerative braking: low, moderate and enhanced, and 3 main driving modes: eco, normal and sport, with an extra 4-wheel drive setting available on the dual motor model. Peugeot claims the underfloor battery pack gives the car greater stiffness than its combustion predecessor, which should help handling. A multi-link rear axle bolted to this Mark III 5008's new 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹liche medium platform features on the E5008 and ought to help clump all that weight over speed humps and porous surfaces. Combustion 5008s make do with a cruder twist beam setup, though ironically seem to ride better than the EV. You wouldn't call this third generation 5008 pretty, but it looks quite futuristic. Perhaps more the kind of car the current 3008 would have been if Peugeot hadn't decided to make that model a coupe-style SUV. As you'd expect, given the need to fit in 3 seating rows, this 5008 is much boxier than its stablemate and pretty large. Overall, it's 4.79 metres long, 1.69 metres tall and 2.1 metres wide, including the mirrors. So not quite Kia EV9 territory, but not far off. As with the 3008, the front is characterised by this distinctive three-claw lighting signature and ultra-compact LED headlamps, though they'll only be full LEDs if you opt for this GT level of trim. The Peugeot shield sits proudly on a front grille intricately fashioned with a body-coloured cascading pattern. The boxy, slab-sided rear betrays the need for that third seating row. There's a subtle roof spoiler, a dinky rear wiper and slim lower reflectors. So, will it be as avant-garde inside? Well, yes. Behind the wheel, it certainly feels like a car designed in the new electric era. The up-front cabin space replicating the 3008 design, which means it's unusual and different with a high dual-level centre console and an upper floating 21-inch panoramic screen pod that not only seamlessly combines the instrument and infotainment displays, but is also slightly raised so that it can act as a head-up display as well. Behind it is this elegant concave aluminium panel onto which shades from the ambient lighting system are projected. It's all very high-end and unusually designed. There's a vast swathe of sustainably sourced fascia fabric flowing from the dash into the doors. The door switchgear panels angle down while the centre console spine angles up and has hidden storage in its lower section. Perhaps most notably, Peugeot has persisted with an evolved version of the previous model's so-called I-cockpit front-of-cabin layout. This sees use of a tiny steering wheel, here redesigned, over the top of which, rather than through the spokes of which, you're expected to view the instruments. Don't worry, you'll get used to it. To start with, you'll probably keep reaching down to find the E-toggle gear selector, but to no avail because it's been reduced in size and relocated to an almost vertical van-like position next to the start button on the fascia. You control many of the infotainment display's functions via this row of virtual I-toggle switches on this narrow, smaller screen below the centre vents. Swipe across its surface and you'll find there are 10 different shortcut options, twice as many as with the old car. These can be set to deal with basic things like cabin temperature or fan speed, or maybe more eclectic things that are just for you, like navigate home or a one-shot click to your favourite radio station. And on that subject, the cabin can be set for up to 8 different driver profiles, bespoke with ambient lighting, navigation and audio settings. Unlike Tesla, Peugeot still thinks you need column stalks, and it's via the ends of these that you control what you view on the instrument screen ahead. The key info on that screen covers digital speed and gear selection, plus on this E-5008 model, a battery indicator and a charge eco power meter. Clicking on the end of the left-hand stalk varies the background of the instrument screen through 3 formats, one with navigation, one with 2 dial spaces, and one that combines a dial space with an energy flow monitor. Pressing the end of the right-hand column stalk brings up a right-hand data box on the screen which can show trip data or instant consumption. Pretty much anything else you might need to know will be on this central infotainment display, another thing completely redesigned for this 3rd generation model. We've talked about the I-toggle virtual keys that work with it, but of course you can touch the screen surface too, or interact with this monitor via voice control. The home screen is minimalistic with temperature meters either side. Swipe left and those meters flank a nav map. Swipe left again and rows of little icons appear to the right of a car graphic with a battery indicator. These icons include what Peugeot calls an application drawer, which on this E-5008 incorporates an energy section. Via this, you can set charging times, view an energy flow meter, monitor the powertrain's energy use, or, using a history section, graphically oversee recent consumptions in miles per kilowatt hour over the last 30, 60 or 300 miles. Enough on screens, what else might you need to know? Well, the redesigned dynamic seats are much more supportive than the chairs in the previous generation model, though you don't get lumbar adjustment unless you stretch to this top GT trim. You sit quite high, build quality is good, the materials used feel classy, and despite the avant-garde design, the ergonomics are fine. Crucial controls like audio volume, hazard flashes, and the drive mode controller reside on the near part of this centre console spine, which, as it nears the dash, spears away to the left with shortcut climate functions. Amongst these is an added quick launch feature, which automatically sets the cabin for rapid heating or cooling. What about cabin storage? Well, Peugeot says there are up to 17 storage spaces with an overall volume of nearly 34 litres. These include this hidden lidded cubby, which sits just ahead of the cup holders on the lower part of the centre console and includes twin USB ports and a 12-volt socket. There's also an overhead sunglasses compartment, deep door pockets and ticket clips in the sun visors, but irritatingly, as with the previous design, right-hand models like this one have a glove box halved in size by the fuse box. There doesn't seem to be any priority amongst Peugeot's designers to sort this issue out. There's this twin-lidded box between the seats that's air-conditioned to keep your chocolate and drinks cool. A wireless smartphone charging mat is standard and sits beneath the centre part of the dashboard and can Bluetooth link two handsets simultaneously. For better call quality, Peugeot has equipped the cabin with two microphones, one above each front seat occupant. And you can, of course, wirelessly link your handset using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. But practicality will be a key requirement for 5008 customers. So let's take a look in the second row. Some customers may be disappointed to find that the three individual second-row seats of the previous generation model have been replaced by a different configuration. This one lacks the old individual ISOFIX points, but offers two larger, more comfortable outer seats, flanking a narrow one in the middle that does without the child seat mount. Still, the bench base slides by up to 150mm and the backrest reclines, and even before you start fiddling with this, there's plenty of head and leg room. You also sit a little higher than you do at the front, which gives a better view out and might prevent car sickness. There are netted seat back pockets, beady overhead reading lights, a centre armrest with cup holders, deep small door bins, and on this top model, rear climate controls and side window blinds. The third row isn't too difficult to get to. You just pull up these latches on the seat shoulder. And once you're inside, thanks to this Mark III model's extra 60mm of wheelbase length, accommodation is a little more spacious than it was with the previous generation model, though it's still clearly primarily intended for kids. A cup holder's provided on either side, and there's a 12-volt socket on the left. We'll finish with a look at boot space, which impressively is the same regardless of drivetrain choice. With the third row in place, there's 348 litres of boot capacity. There's a light on the left and a deep stowage well beneath this luggage board. Pull these lower black tabs to fold the rearmost seats down, and the revealed completely flat area is 916 litres in size. There's 2,232 litres of space with the second row folded too. Prices start from around £48,000 for this E-5008 in standard 73 kilowatt-hour form. It's just over £51,000 for the E-5008 long range. Across the lineup, there are two main trim levels: Allure, or for £3,380 more, the top GT spec we have here. If you're looking for competitors to compare against this E-5008 EV, well, the only directly comparable 7-seat electric rival in this segment is the Maxus MIFA 7, which will save you around £5,000. If, having considered all of that, you conclude that it is this Peugeot that you really want, then you're going to need to know about spec. So let's take a look at that now. Well, base Allure trim includes 19-inch alloy wheels, eco LED headlights, rear parking sensors, a reversing camera, cruise control, power folding mirrors, rear privacy glass, keyless entry, an alarm and body-coloured accents for the front grille. Inside this third generation model's new 21-inch HD panoramic curved display, incorporating the instrument panel and central touchscreen, is standard. The infotainment system, including navigation, voice recognition and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring, plus there's ambient lighting linked to the drive modes, a wireless smartphone charging pad, an electrochrome rear view mirror and aluminium pedals. This GT spec is visually set apart by a black diamond contrasting black roof and rear spoiler, as well as gloss black trimmed lower door claddings and wheel arch surrounds, and a Peugeot shield on the front wings. The GT versions also get pixel LED headlights with adaptive high beams, 3D LED rear lights, adaptive cruise control with stop and go functions, a hands-free opening tailgate and front parking sensors. GT long-range electric models get larger 20-inch wheels too. Inside, GT spec gets you upholstery in Alcantara with faux leather trimming, aluminium dashboard trim, luxury carpet mats as well. Plus a heated steering wheel, front seat lumbar adjustment, extended 8-colour ambient lighting, a frameless version of the electrochrome rear view mirror, and rear side door window blinds. Key options we think you need to look at include Peugeot's useful advanced grip control system, well worth the extra £300 for the extra traction it'll give you on really slippery roads. For this E-5008, you'll also need to allow an extra £700 for the heat pump that'll be necessary to maintain driving range in really cold weather. On the Allure versions, we'd pay extra for the AGR certified driver's seat. And on the GT, you can add a panoramic glass roof. Across the range, standard safety kit includes the expected active safety brake automatic braking system, lane keeping assist, driver attention alert, traffic sign recognition and excessive speed warning systems. Plus a post-collision safety brake setup and the usual traction control, tyre pressure monitoring and front, side and curtain airbags linked to emergency e-call, SOS and assistance. Allure trim, though, does without high beam assist, and on all models you have to pay extra for the 360-degree vision and drive assist pack that we've got fitted here if you want blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. That pack also includes a 360-degree camera system, and on this GT variant, Peugeot's Highway Assist 2.0 semi-autonomous highway driving setup that can almost drive the car for you at cruising speeds with lane positioning assist, semi-automatic lane change and recommended speed adaptation. Now, as we told you in our driving section, this 73 kilowatt-hour E-5008 has an EV range of 311 miles, which extends to 415 for the 97 kilowatt-hour version. To get near to these figures, you'll have to make frequent use of the provided Eco Drive mode and the various settings of low, moderate and enhanced of the regenerative braking system. Peugeot claims an efficiency figure of 3.6 miles per kilowatt-hour for this 73 kilowatt-hour entry-level E-5008 variant. This is aided by eco tyres, friction-reducing bearings, a slippery drag coefficient of 0.28 CD, and, if you pay extra for it, a heat pump which will preserve range in cold weather. On to E-5008 charging. Well, a little surprisingly, the 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹lie medium platform hasn't been engineered with the 800-volt architecture that would enable use of the latest breed of ultra-rapid DC public chargers. But with its 400-volt system, the E-5008 can DC charge at up to 160 kilowatts, which for the 73 kilowatt-hour standard model allows for 20 to 80% charge in 30 minutes, with a charging rate of 2.4 kilowatt-hours per minute at its peak, at which point 62 miles of range are added every 10 minutes. It'd be 27 minutes for a 20 to 80% DC charge of the long-range model's 97 kilowatt-hour battery. As for AC charging from home, well, for this standard 73 kilowatt-hour model, Peugeot quotes battery replenishment time of 4 hours, 30 minutes for a 20 to 80% charge with a 3-phase 11 kilowatt supply. For a full charge using a single phase supply and a 7.4 kilowatt wall box, you're looking at 11 hours and 45 minutes. That rises to 14 hours and 45 minutes for a full 7.4 kilowatt charge of the 97 kilowatt hour long range model, with an hour longer needed for the dual motor all-wheel drive version. Via the My Peugeot smartphone app or by using the vehicle's touchscreen, owners can schedule a wake-up time for the E-5008 battery. This means that the cells can be at the optimal temperature for efficiency from the time you start up. Plus, of course, the interior can also be pre-cooled or preheated as well. An energy section of the centre screen gives you a history section offering a graphical chart of energy consumption in miles per kilowatt hour over the last 30 miles. You can also select a screen showing usage of energy by the e-motor, the climate system and other auxiliaries. What about after-sales cover? Well, the two combustion 5008 models get the usual unremarkable 3-year or 60,000 mile Peugeot warranty. The E-5008 gets its own Peugeot 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹𝒄 warranty, which covers the vehicle's motor, charging and electrical systems, and is in addition to the 8-year or 100,000 mile battery warranty that all EV makers are these days mandated to provide. What 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹𝒄 does is extend the standard 3-year warranty by 2 years and 15,000 miles every time the vehicle is serviced at a franchise Peugeot dealer, up to a total of 8 years or 100,000 miles. We'd like to know why Peugeot can't extend this to its combustion models. Insurance for this E-5008 in standard 73 kilowatt hour form is either Group 33E or 35E, variants depending on spec choice. As for servicing, well, on all 5008s an initial check is required at 8,000 miles or at the end of the first year. The first scheduled service is at 2 years or 16,000 miles, then every 16,000 miles or 2 years thereafter. Owners can opt to purchase a single service plan to cover all essential maintenance. And with the E-5008 EV, you'll be given a certificate of battery capacity after each service. Given that this E-5008 has the SUV side of the sub £60,000 7-seat market almost to itself, it doesn't have to be as good as it is. The battery stats look competitive and it feels avant-garde, both inside and out. Don't expect a particularly engaging driving experience, but few customers will be seeking that. Some might not like the divisive cockpit driving position though, and we'd hope this car might be slightly more affordable than it is. We think, though, that you're getting a lot more for your money here than you would be with an identically engineered Peugeot E-5008, or indeed just about any other mid-sized SUV full electric crossover you could name. That third seating row gives this Peugeot a real advantage, and you get it without the frumpiness that would come with a van-based electric MPV. All good.